Hello and welcome to the Electric Car Hangout. Welcome. I'm excited for tonight. There's a whole lot of stuff to talk about. It's been a month, but the month went really fast and a lot has happened and a lot is coming up. So I'm super excited to be back live and thank you for joining. I see I'm doing my monitoring of notes and things a little differently today, so got to look down, but I see John is here. Hello, John. And Todd. Hi, Todd. Aviator 17, good evening. Welcome. Evie Dave is on the road doing another epic road trip. Good evening, Dave. He's out in Wyoming. And he says the trip is going good. Great. So fantastic. He's doing a towing adventure with his Model X, and so be looking for the videos on EV Dave's channel. These are slightly smaller notes, having to look at my my phone. I had the stream up on my laptop, but now that we're all on Starlink, I don't have another internet. I guess I could do a hotspot from the phone, but I didn't think of it until just now. And so I'm trying to stream live, and I was trying to download the stream as it goes and watch the notes there. So little different format tonight. Always got to keep it interesting. Can't ever do two of these the same or it would get boring. But welcome. Thank you, Steve. Welcome. Steve is from Plug and Play EV, and so welcome to him. So big exciting news. Obviously this is Drive Electric Week and lots of events going on. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, the second I hit yes, I'm going to an event, two more that are closer or I really should attend pop up, and I have to say no to those. So it's kind of unfortunate, but this weekend, my daughter and I are going up to Duluth to look at the fall colors in the woods and everything up there. So that will be this weekend's drive, but of course there are a ton of EV events. But I've been putting this one off for a few years with the Minnesota Tesla Group, and so I'm really excited to do it, but it kind of breaks my heart a little bit that I won't be able to hit all the events I would like to. But tomorrow night, there's actually a local event right near us, and so we're going to go hit that. Hopefully talk to some new people and change some minds about EVs, or at least give good advice to some people who are interested already. So that's exciting. That's through our electrical company, and it's always funny to get the questions there of, well, you know, how is the grid going to support all this? Well, the electric company is sponsoring this event, so plenty of people to ask here. They aren't worried about it, and they know they've got time because this will be a gradual transition. So these are always kind of fun, interesting events, but I'm looking forward to it. But I wanted to start you off a little bit with some exciting news nearby. I've been watching the Supercharger slowly take shape, seemed like it was ready, and then just wait for months. But the Bloomington, Minnesota Supercharger just opened last Thursday night, I believe. So I've been up there now 3 or 4 times, and I wanted to share a couple experiences with you that I've made little video clips, and I'll be in the chat while that's going on. But I wanted to share, first of all, our first charge experience and give you a little bit of the lay of the land, and then we'll look a little further into it. So I'm going to switch over to the other view here so I can get to the desktop. You know, smart man would probably put up 2 microphones and then not have to deal with that. But that's all right. You're here for the warts and all show. So I will bring this up. And again, this is in Bloomington, Minnesota, But, new superchargers are opening all the time, and so wanted to give you a little flavor of this, but I talk about it in this short clip. So I'll see you on the other side and be in the chat in the meantime. Good afternoon. It is about 6 o'clock, and we have a new supercharger opened up just near us, and we've been waiting for this one quite a long time. It's right near the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport at a great location right off the highway. A little weave to get in there, but should be a great spot. Lots of stations. I think it just turned on yesterday afternoon, so we're going to go check it out, even though it's close to home, just for the fun of it. So we're going to get her some nuggets and then get rolling. All right, up at Bloomington, 634 at 34%. Let's plug in and see what we get. Very thin cables. I think thinner than some of the other V3s that I didn't precondition, so that's not terribly surprising. Let's see what it's saying for, it is charging us, so that's good to know. I don't think this one, like I said, I don't think it's on the map yet. Oh, it is. So here's the information. Right now we are at the highest charge time. So 46 kilowatt, 46 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're not going to stay here long because I don't want to spend that much money. Home charging is much cheaper. 12 stalls available, 16 stalls total. And let's go take a look at outside. One thing I wanted to note about our slow charge rate is that I hadn't charged the night before, and the car had been sitting in a cool garage all day. And then we just drove the 15 miles or so up to the supercharger. So battery was a little cold to be trying to get 250 kilowatts in, but still have no issues with getting it charging. It was just a little slower than a typical road trip stop would be. And here behind we can see the Target. There's also a sushi place, Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby, all nearby. And about a block away there's a Caribou and some other options as well. So we've got the charge point units out here. J1772 connection. At able to charge 7.3 kilowatts. The charge point stations are level 2, but I think they might be hosted for the first part of your session. At 79 kilowatts, probably still warming up the battery. We made it to 43% at 640. I'm going to unplug. Just charging here to do it, but cool that it's here. Won't really need it since it's so close to home, but glad that it's here. All right, I didn't realize I was in a little box that whole time, so that was weird to look up and find. Yeah, those peak hour prices are up there. The overnights, the 23 cents isn't bad. But yeah, the peaks are getting up there. I saw the California new peak price is 56 cents per kilowatt hour, and that is that's rough. But gas prices are more expensive out there too. I hope those electricity peak prices stay out there and don't start creeping up even further here. And that actually is a good segue, thanks Steve, for talking a little bit about the road trips and things like that, how you kind of have to just charge when you have to charge. But using the CCS adapter now, if you're part of Electrify America's plan and there are actually stations around, I think their plan rate is 31 cents a kilowatt hour. So if you have that new adapter like John does, you can use Electrify America's and save, in California, several cents a kilowatt hour. So that is a good option. Steve has the new Ioniq 5, and so he gets 3 years free. So yeah, that was good timing there. Hopefully by the time it runs out, prices will have dropped a little bit. Have I heard anything about Maple Grove? No, I haven't. I would assume it's just still under construction. But I haven't heard any updates. I don't know if Todd's stopped by there recently. But hey, Roland is here. Chemist American Lifestyle. Welcome. I should show. There's so many things to talk about. New hat in the background. Roland made this for me and sent it, and it's fantastic. I'm going to try to not get it as dirty as the old one, but these are great, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Oh, you can really see my dirty office, too. That's fantastic. Well, I'll just stand bulky. Anyway, we were talking about CCS charging and the different price points there. And Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy, just did a video about the hand show version of that charger, and it's apparently priced just the same as the Tesla one at $250, but he's got a discount code in his video that if you want to get 15% off, you can use that. It's obviously hand show's charger, not Tesla's charger, but I don't think there's a lot of guts in there that make a big difference. It's worked for him. So if you're looking to save a few extra dollars on the Tesla one, or if the Tesla one is already out of stock, that's a good option. So check out the Iowa Tesla Guy channel for that. I think he just released that video today. Mitchell, hello, welcome. Did you see me on Brandon Flash's live stream? Yeah, I was in there commenting. He did a live stream as he was on his Rivian road trip from Minnesota out to Colorado. I think he might still be out there, or he might have started his drive back to North Carolina. But yeah, that was fun to see him do a live stream. I watched some of Kyle Connor's live streams, which I think he's doing one right now. So, if you want to see him drive the Lucid Air from California to Colorado, that will probably still be going on late into the night after I'm done. But I think he's doing that right now. And yeah, I do want to share a little bit about his Rivian because I did get a chance to check that out. So we'll talk about that in a second. But did want to mention that, like I said, Jim the Iowa Tesla Guy, Iowa Tesla Guy channel on YouTube does have a discount code for the hand show version of the CCS to Tesla adapter. So that's out there. If you're looking for it, I might pull the trigger on that. Again, I don't think I'll need it too often, but if you want to save a little money right now during those peak times, that might be the way to go. And actually right now, the Electrify America stations have been free lately as they've been doing background software updates. I think they're doing some of the software upgrades to the payment processing system. That's why everything's been free for the last week or so, it seems like. So that's another option. Dave is working on his videos. He was wiped out. He did a ham radio convention and competition in, I want to say Tennessee or Kentucky. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Until last Sunday, and then Sunday hit the road right away to head out to Wyoming. So he's been just hammering it. So we got to look for his videos when he finally gets a chance to rest and get those out. But we'll enjoy them when they come, Dave. Get some rest. Mitchell needs to update his hardware to use the CCS adapter. Alex Sibla, I think that's how you say his last name, did a video where he upgraded that himself on his Model 3. I don't know if that's something everyone wants to do, but it did work, and he can use the CCS adapter now. Tesla sounds like they're going to have a option where they will do it starting in 2023. So it will be interesting to see how that rollout goes. And I have some theories about why they released the adapter and why they're going to start doing rollouts next year. Hang on just a second. I wanted to bring you along to the gun show. Actually, it's very warm down here with all the lights on, so the sweatshirt needed to go. Yeah, Dave has been going 1,760 miles pulling the trailer, and that thing was full. That trailer, he did a video of packing the trailer and getting started, and it was watching 3D Tetris. Roland asks, I don't know if it was asked already, does the Tesla CCS adapter a preparation for opening EV charging for all? Perfect segue. Thank you. You're reading my mind. So when Tesla first announced that they were going to release open the Supercharger network to other vehicles, a lot of Tesla owners were mad as hornets because this is ours, we paid for it, and we don't want it clogged up with a bunch of, a Leaf that's going to take, 2 days to charge, or, Bolt that can charge at 56 kilowatts or something. We want, just the Teslas that can charge fast. The charging port's always in the same spot. So there's quite a bit of uproar. Some of it understandable, some of it a little pearl clutchy for my taste. But the releasing the CCS adapter has kind of changed things, and now releasing that first, Tesla owners don't have to worry about, I can't go anywhere else and people are going to come into my space. Now it's, I can go everywhere else, and yeah, sometimes somebody might clog a supercharger or whatever, but I've got the EA option as well, or any of the CHAdeMO networks. So I think it was a smart move on their part to release this first, have everybody go, hey, I can save some money going to Electrify America or to the EVgo network or whatever. And so I think once this gets rolled out, people are used to this. There are plenty of videos online about charging a Tesla with CCS now. Many of them more successfully than my initial experience, but I have been able to get it working. But I think that was kind of the game plan of now. We'll see if they, in 3 months or so, start releasing another adapter that's the reverse CCS or Tesla charger to CCS vehicle. Or if they're going to release something that is placed at superchargers, that's on like a chain or, in a locker or something that you would open with an app or something. If it'll be that kind of thing, or if it will be the new V4 stations that they're starting to plan for, will have CCS handles on them. And if you want to use these new chargers, maybe they'll have some Tesla connectors and some CCS. Maybe they'll have both, like some of the European superchargers have. But it'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. It seems like version 4 superchargers have only one cable. And that will be really interesting if that's a CCS cable. So, big changes are coming, but I think releasing the CCS to Tesla adapter was a way to kind of placate the masses, get people used to that, and make it not be such a big shock to the Tesla world when they open up superchargers. So that's my take on it. Tesla is charging, I think, $250 for the CCS to Tesla adapter, which is less than I think people were getting it from South Korea. So that's great. I think John got his for $3 or $310, which was still, good for what you get with it. Tesla wants to take advantage of some government money by offering CCS. Yeah, I think that's, obviously probably a part of their thinking is the new federal funds for charging. You have to be open to everybody, and obviously that means you have to have a connector for everybody. So it'll be interesting to see how they implement it. I'm really curious. Where's the electric car event coming up? The electric car event, John, is in the one tomorrow night. I think is in Eagan. It's sponsored by Dakota Electric, so it's the one I think you came to last year. The one this weekend is Minnesota Tesla Owners Group is doing a fall colors, fall leaves drive up to Duluth. Some driving around there and kind of back roads on the way home to drive through the maples and all that stuff. So that should be pretty cool. Steve says it helps with EVgo because the network charges by the minute. The faster you can be done, the cheaper the session. Oh yeah, then that's great for the Teslas that can do 250 or like the Ioniq 5 if you had to pay for it, you can charge really fast with that with the Ioniq 5. Hi Jim, I wonder if your ears were ringing. We were just talking about you, talking about your CCS adapter video, and if people want to save 15% on the hand show version of the CCS to Tesla adapter, they should check out your channel and your video. I think it came out today. It's been a long day, so can't remember what I did this morning. Todd says there's an event in Elk River tomorrow too, so that's great. Yeah, a lot of EV events this week and this weekend. Probably will spill over to next week too, as people are trying to get everything in before it gets too cold and get those EV events. So, Jim, if anybody has any questions for Jim while he's here, he also just got a new Model Y, or his wife did, and so he's got a video on that. But if you have any questions you want to ask him in the chat, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer. And one of these days he's going to do a live stream of his own, so we'll have to all join and see what he's up to when he does that. Yes, Jim, all good things. John's at Maple Grove Target. Tesla chargers are offline still. Steve, yes, I am planning a video for the Duluth trip. It should be really beautiful. All the colors are really fantastic up there. Hoping we get some good weather. I've been saying this all summer, but I plan to take the drone with me and get some good Northwoods drone shots. Maybe follow, some of the Teslas through the trees and things. But I will have my daughter with me, and my wife is staying home, so sometimes that stuff is a little tough to do when you're trying to be dad and YouTube creator at the same time. So I'm sure you understand, but I'm hoping at least we're going to have some good, pretty GoPro footage, but I'd love to get the drone up at least once or twice at some of the stops, if anything else. So we will see. I've got big plans, and we'll see how the videos turn out. It's kind of how it always goes. Barry is driving his e-Golf 50 miles round trip most days. Fantastic. I've never driven an e-Golf, but I know people really enjoy driving the Golf, so that's cool. John is on his way home. Thanks for checking that out, John. I appreciate that. Our roving reporter. Barry asks if Tesla is increasing the supercharger per kilowatt hour prices in the Midwest. I haven't seen that jump, but I guess I haven't checked today. Yesterday, it was still, I think, a peak of 43. Whatever was in the video clip I just played, I can't quite remember. But hopefully the Midwest rates are set for a while. E-Golf is wonderful. Fantastic. Glad to hear it. I'm excited for anyone who enjoys any EV. So I would love to get my hands on one of those someday and check it out. Going back to the Bloomington Superchargers, I've got another video that I wanted to put in here, and it might eventually be a standalone video. It's about 5 minutes long. But I wanted to share it here because it's about supercharger utilization. And with this new supercharger near me, it's easy to go up and do tests like this. So on Monday, I drove up there to see, how much in the middle of the day are these things getting used. And especially since this one's brand new. It isn't even on the Find Us map on the Tesla website, but you can navigate to it through the car. So routing and stuff, I'm sure, would take you through there if you were just passing through. Again, I'll be in the chat while this is playing. So if you have any questions as the things come up, let me know, and I will try to keep up on that. And so here's that little featurette for you. Good morning. It's about 9:35, and I just started a time lapse at the Bloomington Supercharger, this new 16-stall supercharger, and wanted to see on a Monday morning how much use does this actually get. Now, as I pulled up, one car was just leaving, an older brown Model S, and we've still got a white Model 3 over there hanging out. So a couple of years ago, I met a truck driver who was at this truck stop all the time, and he said, I'm here all the time, and I never see anyone driving or anyone, parked here to charge. So I have a feeling that it's more the case of this is like a flower where bees are coming in and out, and you don't always see a bee at every flower, but they are there, and they do make their stops. So hopefully that's a sign of quick charging times, so people are in and out, and if you don't get there at the same time as they do, you're not going to see anyone. On the other hand, this is a Monday morning after work hours have started. I wanted to get here over the weekend, like after the Vikings game, but couldn't make that work with family things. But I think this is a good, general weekday usage. Let's check this out. This is also a newer charger, just opened about 4 or 5 days ago. So a lot of people probably don't even know this exists, although it is in the in-car navigation, and it would route you to it if you were traveling. So we'll see how this goes. I'm interested. I'm going to have this run for a few hours, and we'll see how many people stop to charge at this station. And as we get started here, we're going to keep track of each of the car's charging times where I have full recordings, and I'll post that at the end. Some of these people stayed for a very long time, which was surprising, but I suppose if you're going to do your shopping, or maybe some people are taking calls or something for work, maybe you stay a little longer. And of course, anytime you set up a time-lapse or a camera anywhere, people are going to park in front of you or walk behind you or do something. So here this Metro Mobility van parks in front of us and hangs out for a bit before his next call, but he'll be gone in a second. A little earlier in the day, there was someone from Tesla Maintenance, I'm assuming, in a blue Model Y who was going through a few of the different stations, taking the fascia off and doing some repairs or adjustments to individual units. The first time I saw them walking away with a fascia, I was like, do I need to stop and get them? But they were, again, just doing maintenance. So good that they're being proactive, even with a new supercharger station, that people are paying attention, and if adjustments need to be made, they're making them. Another thing I find really interesting is how many people in ICE vehicles just stop and park in parking lots, either idling or with the cars turned off. Some of that I imagine is lunch times. Some of that is delivery drivers, it seems like, finding out their next route. Other people were doing handoffs of maybe Craigslist items or something like that. But just a lot of people in ICE vehicles taking, 15 to 20 minutes to sometimes upwards of about an hour just sitting in a parking lot in their vehicle. There's always the perception of charging takes so long. As these people were doing that, a lot of the people in the Teslas were coming and going. While they were doing that, they were doing their shopping. So I've also been surprised at how long some of the Tesla people have been staying. But again, they're going in and doing their shopping, coming out with a few bags and loading up their cars before they leave. So a lot of different use cases, a lot of people who probably could be charging that aren't. Like me, I've just been sitting here and don't need a charge, but doing it for science. Okay, so we are about 6 hours later. It's about 3:30. We've gone through the entire time lapse of looking through this Supercharger here in Bloomington. Now, something really interesting happened in the last half hour or so is that all the Teslas were gone after a fairly active day for the middle of a workday. Another vehicle came and iced one of the spots. I don't know if they were eating a meal or whatever, but sat there for about 15-20 minutes, and no other Teslas came or left. Kind of like we were talking about in the beginning, the experience they had is, yeah, we can ice these spots because no one ever uses them. And of course, they just happened to hit a window when no one was there. And currently, as we're wrapping up here, 2 vehicles are charging. So not something I'd want to do every day, but I found this pretty interesting, and it would definitely be interesting to come back during rush hour or before or after a Vikings game and see how that traffic pattern is. Luckily, these chargers are in really close proximity to my home. So if you have any other things you'd like to see or test with Superchargers, let me know. Leave that in the comments below. If there's any other takeaways that I noticed while looking back at these time lapses, I will either add those in voiceover or cover it in the studio at home. But for now, time to get home. All right. I hope that wasn't too dull. I'm debating whether or not to release that as a standalone video. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you think that's something people would find interesting. I don't know if it was too niche to, if it would appeal to a broad audience, but some people in the EV world like stats and data and things like that. So let me know your thoughts. If you think it would make a decent standalone video, I'll repost it. Barry says, EA just repaired several chargers at a few sites that I check on periodically near him in Palo Alto. That's fantastic. I hope you're getting some of the new hardware. That sounds like it's going to be a big upgrade from a reliability and uptime standpoint, so I hope that's the case. Maybe BTC Power suddenly got more spare power boards. An EA customer support told me that those have been problematic. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting if they're just replacing the boards in existing stalls, which is obviously faster than putting in whole new units, but I know they're doing some of that too. So regardless, I hope when you get to the chargers, they work. All right, good to know. Thanks, Jim and Todd. No new hardware at those sites. Okay. Okay, good. Well, then I will release it on its own. Originally, I tried to get there like after the Vikings game ended on Sunday, and I thought, well, it should be packed. Or before the Vikings game, as the crowds were going, I would think most savvy EV drivers would charge on the way to the game, so when they get done, they can just go home. But wasn't able to finagle that this weekend. So looking forward to maybe checking it out at a busier time, rush hour or something. But for this week, it's just been enough chaos at home that I haven't been able to do that kind of thing. Yeah, the angle of ICE drivers hanging around would give it wider appeal, Steve says. Perception versus reality. Yeah, there's obviously my cameras were focused on one section, but all around me in the lot, there's somebody parked directly across from me in Volkswagen that was just idling for like a good hour at least. And then I think they eventually did turn their car off, but you just wouldn't think of ICE drivers just hanging out. But I suppose if they're doing deliveries or headed to meetings or interviews or whatever, and you just got to kill 20 minutes before you go around the corner to whatever your thing is, then Target parking lot's a good place to do that. Yeah, the trolls are out there. The hardest thing with trolls I've found, not to go off on a whole tangent, but the hardest thing is to respond to them in a relaxed manner that seems helpful. Because you always want to give that gut reaction of, screw you, buddy, and just lay into them. But that doesn't ever change any minds. I did just a post. The president posted something about the future of electric. The future of the Great American Road Trip will be electric. And so I posted our map of all the superchargers we've been to. All the road trips we've done since 2018. And just said, yeah, you can already do it. These are our trips since 2018. Some people were saying, that's fake, that's not real. And I'm like, well, look at my channel. If you want to be bored for a long time, you can see all the receipts. But other people I was able to have some pretty good dialogue with. And so I was able to have some pretty good dialogue with a handful of people. And, some of it is just like, hey, for you, an EV is not going to be ready for 3 years. And at that point, the kind of driving you want to do, whether it's towing or you need something really cheap, it's going to take a little while. But, keep an open mind and see what's out there. And so I'd have some of these good interactions where you kind of feel like somebody's kind of coming over to my side and like, we've got some common ground and they know I'm not being too unrealistic. And then somebody else goes off on them, like in the middle of the thread, picks one of their, relatively argumentative points and just starts hammering on this person. And of course, they get more radical, then they get more radical, then they get more radical, and so, like, on one hand, I'm having this cool, calm, constructive conversation with somebody. At the meantime, they are just like in a dogfight with somebody who joined this thread. And it's so frustrating because I'm like, man, we almost had someone on our side and you killed it. So it's really hard to, stay positive, be constructive, and, meet people where they are and try to, get them where you can get them and, little by little make some progress. But anyway, that was a whole wide turn of things. While I'm over here, I wanted to talk about a couple things. I prepped so much for this that I'm trying to get through it relatively quickly. My wife watches a YouTube channel called Mr. Beat, not Mr. Beast, Mr. Beat, and he does a lot of history things, like presidential history, stuff like that. I haven't watched a ton of his things, but um, it's kind of nerdy, interesting facts and things about presidents or presidential history, whatever. Um, Barry, thanks a lot for joining. I appreciate it. Enjoy that golf. Um, and so he, just does his videos, and my wife just offhandedly mentioned that he did a video about a Tesla road trip he took along the Oregon Trail. And it's pretty interesting because he does not own a Tesla. He rented one on Turo, kind of for the specific reason of making the Oregon Trail a little more difficult, a little more like it would be for the pioneers. And on one hand, it was really cool. He kind of took this adventure and, gave himself an extra challenge. On the other hand, as a longtime EV owner and Tesla road tripper through some, kind of back road areas, I was a little like, there are parts of it where I'm pulling my hair out of like, oh, why did you make it hard on yourself? But it's a pretty interesting video from like he talks about the Oregon Trail video game, talks about the history of the Oregon Trail, visits places where you can like walk in the wagon ruts of, the actual trail. And some of that stuff is fascinating to me. And then he's driving a Tesla. So again, that's part of it is interesting, but also like I said, like, they had major range anxiety, and I think, probably a longer term owner would be like, we'll be fine. But it was interesting to see his perspective of, what's that like? And, oh man, I got to charge. And I guess they had a bad time with phantom braking on some of the highways. So, interesting. I generally don't have a lot of problems with phantom braking. Not that it's never happened, but I know it seems like some cars are just riddled with it and others aren't. So hopefully we'll see what the next update brings, and it will get better. But I just wanted to share a little bit here. You can see his path. Here's his YouTube channel, and it's a 2-hour long video, hour and 46 minutes. But like I said, it's interesting. He visits some historic places, does some interviews with, people, talks about the game. There's some funny moments there. And he apparently lives, somewhere in here in Kansas. So it wasn't a tough place to start out, but pretty interesting. And so he finds himself, here in the middle of Wyoming. I'm not going to actually play any of his video because I don't want a copyright claim or anything, but worth checking out if you want to see someone relatively new to Tesla take on that challenge. And then he did a live stream Q&A with his wife about, some of the different challenges and things they had along the trip. So interesting, frustrating, but ultimately good. Like, you could tell by the end of the trip they'd kind of hit their stride and understood about, charging wasn't the big concern it was in the first couple days. So that was pretty cool to see. And then while we're here also, I will show you the Polestar 3. Apparently, why is it doing that? So this is on Inside EVs that we've got a little look, some not exactly spy shots, but different views of the Polestar 3. So we'll see what that actually looks like. I think it's technically being released revealed in October. Launch event on October 12th in Denmark. But we're starting to see more of it. Looks good. This hatch seems really small to me. So it's just going to be interesting. Brandon Flash, again, to just keep name dropping him, just did a video about they traded in their Polestar 2 for his new Rivian pickup. And it was interesting to hear his take on it and Kaylee's take on it, to see some of the cool stuff about the Polestar 2, but then also some of the little quirks and weirdness. So I kind of wonder if the Polestar 3 is going to be like that, mostly great, and then just some oddities here and there. But I'm sure it's going to do well. The Polestar I drove was really well put together. I enjoyed it. It's not for me, but for the right buyer, it's probably a great car. And I think Brandon liked it. It just had a couple weird things. And obviously, when you have a Rivian on an order, that's what you take delivery of when it comes. Speaking of Rivian, I'm just going to barrel through all this stuff right here. Sorry about that. So speaking of Rivian, there have been a few different events. My friend Steven got his Rivian R1S recently, and I was able to see him the next day at an EV car show that Todd was also there. I tried to wave to him several times, but he was in a deep, deep conversation with a guy, and then they went off on their test drive. So didn't get a chance to say hi to him that day. Hi, Todd. But he was there, and Stephen was there with his R1S. So I put together another little video I'll share here that's just kind of a rolling scroll of some photos and footage. And so here is the R1S. There's Stephen talking to folks about it. You can see there's a blue R1T behind it and a bunch of other EVs. And we did an event there's John in the background. We did an event last week of just kind of a meetup at Invictus Brewery. This is Seth's matte green Rivian R1T. And here's Brandon's blue with a blurry photo. And he's got the Ocean Coast interior. That's, if you want to see that, he and Kyle Connor made a video about that the other day. I just took pictures of it because I've already done kind of a first look video of the Rivian, but looks sharp, looks well put together. And so that was cool to see. And then as he was driving on his road trip doing his live stream, he happened to come right by my house, so I managed to get a shot of him doing there. There's an ID4. So yeah, got a quick shot of him coming down 35W. There was a Model S in the last clip, and then looks like a Leaf coming in this clip. So plenty of EVs. And also, as I was driving around the other day, I saw a Lightning in the wild, not by anyone I know. He was wondering why I was gawking at him, but like, dude, you're driving a brand new Lightning. So pretty cool. Nice to see the Rivian. You can actually sit in the way back seats of the R1S. Wouldn't be super comfortable for adults for a long trip, but you could do it. It's got some good storage space. And yeah, here are these again. I want to jump up here. I'm considering doing a video. Oh, where are we going here? Of maybe pausing something like this or doing a intersection maybe, and take a look at the average driver's sample we have in maybe a few clips and say, okay, this car, I'm not sure if that's a Leaf or not. Might not be. But, obviously, this box truck is going to be a while before that's an EV. But the sedan, the small pickup there, that could be an EV. And just kind of go count through all the cars and car styles in a few clips and say, which ones of these uses are ready to be EVs, which ones should we still wait for, and that kind of thing. And just kind of see where the state of average road users is and which one of them could transition now, which one are a year away, which ones are maybe 5 years away or even 10. So that's an interesting thought I've been having in the back of my head. So I think that kind of thing would be interesting. Brandon did get a flat. He got a puncture on his sidewall last night, but he's got a full-size spare in the Rivian, so I think he just swapped it out this morning. I saw a couple of his tweets about that. So, but it was kind of cool to see. I was watching his live stream. Was that Sunday morning? And like, oh yeah, he's driving through Minneapolis and coming south, and like, oh, he's going to drive like a mile from my house, or actually a lot less. But I was like, I'm about to leave anyway. I may as well throw the camera in the car and see if I can catch him. And that clip was just right as I turned my camera on. Like right when I hit record is right here. So I almost missed him. In fact, I didn't notice this because I was still fussing with camera things. So I stayed there another 10 minutes until on the live stream I could see he had passed me. Just to make sure I got him. But anyway, that was kind of a fun, weird excursion. But fun to do. So I think, let me look at my notes. I think that's everything for over here. So I'm going to switch back over there and answer any questions if you have them. If anybody's new here, welcome. Feel free to answer questions or ask questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer them as best I can. And here we go. Going to move the mic too. Thrill as he puts his big face back on the camera. And I need my... got to bring all my equipment. And there we are. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting I got to do like a let's go out to the lobby kind of jingle or something. So Bloomington is open. You've seen that ad nauseum, but that's really exciting because it has been a long time coming. It seemed like it was going to be ready in like May or June and then just kind of stalled out through the summer, but they did get it done. So that's exciting. Speaking of talking about Kyle's Polestar video, I also watched Sean Mitchell do an interesting review of the Kia Ev6. Which is a car I'm really excited about. I think it looks super cool. And he has a really good video on it. He took it up some mountains and things in Colorado. So it was interesting. I think It seemed like, not to spoil his video, it's worth going to watch it, so do that. But and like I said, I think he's going to have more of specifics about it. He seemed to feel like the software was a little laggy. So, Steve, you've got the Ioniq 5? Do you, if you're still on, is the software pretty similar between the Kia and the Ioniq, or have you not? I can't remember if you've driven the Kia or not, but if you want to share your experience with the software, I know you've done videos on it, but since you're here and it's the top of my mind, if you have any thoughts about that, or if you've seen Sean's video and have any comments about the software in the vehicle. I think that was his main gripe. I can't remember anything else, but I think it's a really cool vehicle. I've seen it once, very briefly. I'm meaning to do an interview with the owner once we can get our schedules to line up. So hoping to have that before it gets too cold. So we'll see. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was Tesla's AI Day, which is happening on Friday. And last time AI Day was primarily about the new Dojo chip, how they're doing auto labeling for FSD. The bulk of it was really how they're doing planning, how they think about the process of attacking the FSD problem. And it was really interesting. And but the thunder kind of got stolen from the event by Tesla Bot or Optimus, and obviously all the buzz now going into AI Day 2 is what's the robot going to do? And there are people joking about like Elon's going to give the presentation and then, at the end say, and now Tesla Bot, and the real Elon will walk on stage and it will be revealed that the fake Elon was the robot all the time. Obviously that will not happen. There's no conceivable way that will be the case, other than just for humor's sake. So I think expectations are a little high. It is a recruiting event after all. I see Steve responded, so I want to get to his comments. Same infotainment in i5 and EV6, more or less. It's nothing special, but not laggy. But nav is typical legacy OEM. We use Android Auto for 90% of the time, so it's not a major factor, yeah. So, I need to get in. That's another video I want to do is what is the big deal with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto? Because I've never owned a vehicle with that in it, and I know a lot of people are wanting Tesla to have it, and a lot of people who have the other vehicles use it and love it in those. But I just have zero experience with it, so I don't know. I probably don't know what I'm missing. So that's interesting. But I'm glad it has that, and you're happy using that. So that's cool. So back to AI Day. I'm hoping they do a walkthrough. I'm hoping even if a lot of it is Tesla Bot, I'm hoping half of it is at least as deep about how they think about the FSD problem and the ways they're going about solving this and what has changed from last year in their approach and their thinking of how to solve these problems. I'm enjoying being a beta tester of FSD, but I'm also very um, pro whoever can get there first. So Tesla's got their approach. They think it's going to work, and they're working their problems. Waymo's got their thing. Cruise has their thing. Whoever can scale and make roads safer and can be capable doing it the fastest, or if all of them are doing it their own way and accident rates come down, injuries come down, deaths come down, I don't care whose name brand is on the vehicle. Obviously, I'm using FSD because I own a Tesla, and I want to be part of that process. That's why I bought FSD for much cheaper than it is now, but that's why I wanted to be in the program. So I don't know that they're going to solve it, but I can see through the advancements that I've seen in the past year that, if you look 2 years down the road, if it's a relatively similar curve of improvements, it's going to be pretty outstanding in 2 years. Maybe faster. We'll have to see how the releases come out. This new version, and you have to take a right turn, cross 3 lanes of traffic to take a left turn through a median, and then that takes you onto the road where the coffee shop is. And it has never even mapped that way as a possibility. Like, it didn't even see the turn through the median. And on my first drive, once I got beta 69.2, I think it is, it routed right through there. It did not do it gracefully. It did not do it well. I had to take over. But it's attempted that. Now, last time I tried that, there was almost no traffic, and it did it. It wasn't super graceful, but it did it relatively competently. If you had a 15-year-old with their learner permit and had them do that maneuver, that's what it would have felt like. So, obviously not perfect, not where it needs to be, not how I would do it. But you can see it attempting and doing things that there was no way you could conceive of it doing a year ago, and even a month ago, it didn't even attempt. So, some good stuff there. I may have, I can't remember if I mentioned this somewhere. Maybe I put it on Twitter, but I did have one phantom brake that was pretty heavy, and I couldn't figure out why. And then a person on a bicycle went from being on the side of me to scooting around me. And I didn't even see that they were there. But they had been coming down the hill really fast and then stopped, kind of at the side of the car and went around. And so, that was near a school zone too. So obviously, again, I'm in it for the safety and the lack of accidents and that kind of thing. So that was good to see once I realized what was happening. So for me, AI Day is, how are we looking at all these problems? What's our progress been? Where do we think we can get? And what are our next steps to get there? There have been rumors that maybe we'll see hardware 4 for the cars. That would be interesting. People have, been speculating forever about different cameras, different camera positions. Will there be rides in a Cybertruck with, this new camera suite, whatever. Apparently they're going to be having rides there, but I don't know if those will just be Plaid Joy rides, FSD rides, or something else. Maybe something in the Cybertruck. We'll see. So I'm excited for that, and I hope that is a lot of it, because the bot is a cool idea. but not as interesting day to day, at least where it's going to be right now. So I want a good, healthy focus on FSD, Dojo, and where they are, where they're going, and all that stuff. And then as far as the bot is concerned, I've heard some people, if you see really any interview with James Doma, he has really interesting insights of what it takes to do the robot. He has interesting insights on FSD as well, but he has really interesting insights of what it takes to build a robot like this, and then what it needs to do and what he's looking for FSD or for Tesla bot. And he's got way more qualifications than I do as far as computing and all that stuff. Any real knowledge about this stuff. But I don't think we're going to see anything like there's been talk of, well, what if it walks onto stage and, just does a good human walk? That would be really impressive. I have a feeling we're going to see parts, but not a whole. So I think we might see, the invite. The invite is the robot hands, and I don't know if they're the actual robot hands or if they're CG robot hands. But I can see maybe an arm on, attached to something, and it's maybe doing some dexterity thing. And I can see maybe, the head with what the display is going to be like. And then, maybe there's like a strength demo with, 2 arms on a torso or something. I would be blown away if we see a full formed human shape that isn't in these pieces like I'm talking about. Like with the legs and a pelvis, maybe I could see that doing a demo of these are the motions we need it to do. And so we had to develop this actuator, and we had to develop this piece of software and this balancing, gyro mechanism. But I would be astounded if we see something all together that can do cohesive motions together. It's possible, but I don't see how. So I would think for AI Day 2, AI Day 1, we had, dancing fake robot and mannequin body. I would think for AI Day 2, we'll have these parts and pieces demos about how they're thinking about the problem. And since this is a recruiting event, a lot of time on the actuators, the software, how they're using the FSD computer to run some of the logic or whatever. I can see that kind of stuff happening. I just think it's too soon to have something that's all together. Or if it is, it would have to be like on a bracket or something so it can stand up. I can't imagine it doing all of that stuff. So with a lot of Tesla events, I like to caution that it's a good time to take a deep breath, see all the stuff on the internet and all the crazy expectations, and just tamper them down and then be wowed if something amazing happens. But live in reality of this time last year, as far as we knew, they were at nothing. And things take a long time to develop. So keep expectations low. Enjoy the event. I'm going to. I'm actually, yeah, I'll watch it on Friday and then probably re-listen to it as we drive up to Duluth on Saturday. So, yeah, I'm interested if anybody's still on after I've done my speculation rant. I'd love to know what your expectations are for AI Day, either for FSD or for the bot, or somebody's said it's going to be the Cybertruck drives up with hardware 4 and out comes the Tesla bot from the driver's seat. So do you have ridiculous expectations, or are you thinking more along the lines that I am, or am I being too pessimistic? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's see here. Steve says it feels like I got to go back a little further. John says he uses Alexa in his Tesla. Shoot, I'm sorry, I said that word. I hope I didn't trigger anything. And he's got a little adapter for that. You can play certain music you want to listen to, not random music. That's what CarPlay and Android is. Plus you get ways for driving. Yeah. Yeah, that stuff would be handy. I just do random stuff on my phone. I guess I just have songs downloaded to my phone, and so I just randomize it that way and play. I guess that's through Bluetooth. Steve says maps take your history of saved places and bookmarks with you to the car. Yeah, and then if you switch cars and you still have CarPlay, that would be nice to not have to re-enter that kind of stuff. Better Route Planner, Audible, and Google Podcasts are also positive. Yeah. Yeah, you can do a Better Route Planner in the Tesla. We did that on the way back from Cincinnati, and it was okay. I didn't keep it up. I did it at a charging stop and went, yep, that's what my phone is saying, and then, closed it out again. Steve says, feels like it's been a while since a Tesla event caught the attention of a wider audience. Yeah, I think, the Giga Texas, the Cyber Rodeo, they called it, and the Giga Berlin event. I guess in the Tesla world they were big, but yeah, I don't know if a ton of people outside of that or outside of EV spheres even knew it was happening. The Tesla bot announcement made a big splash last year, but as kind of a punchline. And I think, I think the markets and most people, whatever they show, it's going to be, Elon's being crazy Elon again. But I'm hoping they can show enough stuff, like I said, of where they are, where they plan to go, what they've achieved so far, to make it at least interesting to people who have been following along. You never know what's going to hit with a wider audience. Or, to recruits, maybe, bouncing a ball with a robot arm is, not very impressive, but maybe that's, like it's a, something that catches on and could be meme worthy or whatever. And, then people start paying attention to it. But, yeah, it's all depends on what they show and how they show it, really. And Steve says, think there will be enough at AI Day to stretch beyond the fans. History of these kinds of events would say no. There's going to be a handful, like, if it's what I'm expecting, which would still be good, there's going to be a handful of people who are like, they've just changed the world and nothing will ever be the same. And there'll be other people like, they didn't show us anything. It's the same old stuff. Any company could do this. Look what Boston Dynamics is doing. Tesla doesn't have a clue. Now, regardless of what they show, there are going to be those two camps. But, also depending on what they show, the majority could lean of people who learn about it and how many people learn about it is all going to be up to what they show. And if it's impressive or if it's just a good first step, or if it's a letdown that might be technically fascinating to the people they want to recruit, but not that interesting to the wider audience. I like to think I've followed this stuff a lot, but I have no experience, like I said, with robotics or AI or anything like that. So it would need to be, they're going to have to communicate whatever breakthroughs they've had in ways that laymen can understand why it's important and where this gets them with future iterations. And sometimes they are not great about making those kind of things easy for laymen to understand. So we'll see. I think that is all I had for tonight. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I will try to get back to them. Or I will, try to answer them quickly here before we sign off. But wherever you are, I hope you have a good Drive Electric week. Even if you don't go to any events, enjoy driving an EV. And if you haven't ever, give it a shot. Find one of these events. I think the Electric Auto Association posts a lot of different events, or just search for EV events in your area on Google or Facebook or wherever you go to get information. And something should probably pop up for this week near you. So enjoy those and enjoy driving EVs and checking them out. Like I said, we are going to go to a fall leaf drive that I've been meaning to go to for 3 years now. So excited for that, even though it's not all of the, greeting people kind of events. But that feeling when you leave for a road trip and there's a nagging feeling as you're pulling out of the driveway of what am I missing? What am I missing? That's what I'm having right now. So, John says, I'm at home now. Where's this event tomorrow? I will text that to you after I'm done here. So, so with that, if there's nothing else, I will sign off here. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate everyone who's watched and subscribed to hit that 1,500 subscriber mile marker. Was pretty exciting this week. It took a long time to get to 1,000. It's taken under a year to get that next 500. So I'm excited of where we can go in the future. More road trips, more fun stuff. Hopefully some drone footage from this weekend, and just bringing more EV content to everyone. And thank you very much for subscribing, hanging around, joining these live streams, and commenting. And I will talk to you all next time. I think the next live stream, I would love to do these weekly, but things have been a little nuts here, and I think our last week without snow, or our last month without snow, means I've got to not do these weekly for right now. The next last Wednesday, that's November. Looks like the 26th of October will be the next live stream. So I will try to give a little more notice before that one. But maybe I'll dress up or something, or we can do a costume party on Zoom or something. That would be kind of fun. So, yeah, it's hard to control a computer from way over here. But thank you. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the regular videos. This weekend, I'm doing a video of frequently asked questions with my wife that should be kind of fun. And that'll be on Sunday. And then the following week should be that fall colors drive video. So have a great night. Thanks again. And I will see you around. Have a good night.